This is the Citroen Aircross X and it gets a new key. Yes, that is the biggest change because the earlier key was super duper cheap. This one now feels kind of heavy. Citroen logo right here, this chrome treatment all around. Unlock the car, lock the car, and a dummy button here. Why? I have absolutely no clue. So we all know that this car actually started life off as the C3 Aircross. Then Yogi Adityanath was like, please change the name, so it became Aircross. And now again he said change the name, so now it's become Aircross X. Well, lot of changes, but only to the name and also to the interiors, because the exterior is more or less the same as before. And this car is actually quite smart looking. Is there a helicopter hovering on my head? Helicopter. Can you please turn off the fan for a minute? I really need to focus here. Anyways, so the design is quite nice, French design, and these lines meet the chevron, which is the Citroen logo. Straight away, let's actually open the engine bay. The engine is actually quite hot. And how do I open it? Because yeah, the fingers of truth are getting burned right now. That is the engine. You can see, feel the vibration. 3-cylinder engine, but then okay, that's fine. I won't complain much on that front. There's insulation there. The tank closes that because it's got 5-star rating from Euro NCAP. Not really, it's got from my local NCAP. The thing is, it actually feels robust, and this car's price range starts at rupees 9.75 lakhs, goes all the way to 16.24 lakhs for this variant, which is actually quite value for money for the kind of features it has, because it is a 5+2. Yes, that's right, it's a 7-seater. But this camera seems to be added at the dealer level because it has been, yes, it's just stuck on right here, and the fog lamps are now LEDs, so that's another change here. And they had updated the car, I don't know when. They don't really tell you when they update the car, because this had become LED, I think, last year. So this is the DRL. This is the indicator, which actually has a bulb inside that is halogen. Not impressed by that. Anyways, I like the design of this car. It looks quite smart. The length is slightly more than 4.3 meters. The wheelbase is actually one of the longest in the segment at almost 2.7 meters. That's nice. The design of the alloy wheels also fantastic. 17-inch wheels here, 215/60/17. A bit of a rust in a brand new car, hardly done 500 kilometers. It even says Citroen here on the inside. Yes, that's finished in chrome. Meanwhile, you get this body cladding. There's this cladding here as well. This thing has been added, this chrome strip right here. And there's a camera here. Yes, 360-degree parking camera, but not such a good news. I'll tell you why. Meanwhile, you get this roof rail, which will definitely come out if I pull it a little harder, so that is not functional at all. A shark fin antenna finished in gloss black, and these flap type door handles are from 1980s. Yeah, they should have proper door handles, but yes, whatever. Anyways, door pockets are decent size. Lot of hard plastics everywhere, yeah, full of hard plastics. And this seat, it reclines a bit. So right now it's reclined, otherwise it's upright like this. That one is reclined a bit. So in the 7-seater, there's no center armrest. The 5-seater gets it. Center passenger does not get an adjustable headrest either. AC vent placement here, a USB-C, not one but two of them right here, which is such a nice touch because the front does not get a USB-C charging port only, which is kind of surprising. No height adjustable seat belts. It gets 6 airbags, scooped out seat back, and you get a magazine holder here. Legroom and kneeroom is actually decent enough. Under thigh support is not the best, and headroom is good enough here. You get a handle to hold on to. In fact, they've added it here as well. That's a nice touch. Roof mounted blower for the third row, so it has 3 fan speeds. Light placement here on the top, but you know what, space isn't great here because this protrudes, so the center passenger is not really comfortable, and the cabin is also narrow now, so really 3 people cannot sit in here comfortably. Isofix child seat mounts, and thankfully the power window controls are in the right place now. You know what it is? It's 1 touch down, but not 1 touch up, because to make it 1 touch up they have to put anti-pinch, which is mandatory, which will obviously cost money, so they have like avoided it completely. Now let's try and get into the third row. All I have to do is pull this like this, and there it tumbles. That one does not tumble, it only folds flat, so it's like a 60-40 fold here. And the third row is not best for anyone. I mean, it's just for kids, I believe, because there's no space. Under that support is really very poor. Headroom is poor as well, and there's no space for adults like me. There's a cup holder here, and maximum you can put 3 kgs of luggage right there. There's a USB-C charging socket right there. Can you see that? Yeah, not one but 2 of them. They could have put one on this side, one on that side. That would have been a bit more practical. Anyways, let's put this seat back into place. So in terms of the interiors, they definitely look better because seats are also better, and I like this wrap around windscreen. These lights, well, they are C-shaped, and they are not LEDs completely, because I can see a bulb on the inside. In fact, the indicator is functioning here, that is also a bulb. Come on, give us all LED lights, will you, Citroen? It says Aircross X. This is new actually, this is new. And 2 rear parking sensors, just 2 of them. Rear parking camera again seems like an afterthought because it is. Meanwhile, the exhaust is placed right there. Now it has a silver finishing here for sort of skid plate treatment. You get a rear wiper washer. You get a rear spoiler. You get a high mounted stop lamp. And the boot is Chintu Mintu. This is like 33 liters. Yes, that's right. Just 33 liters. But you can just put the seat down if you want. And once you do that, when you fold it flat, that's 511 liters, which is like 67 liters more than the 5-seater. And you know what? You can actually remove these seats, keep them outside, use them as picnic chairs as well. But the problem is they don't stay upright. So if you recline, they become flat, which makes it a sort of a bed. That could have been done better. But yes, this is a good thing that this is the only car in this segment to be a 7-seater, like a driver. Yeah, French have some obsession with 7 seats. I don't know what exactly it is. Let's step inside because there's a lot to like. Look at this cheap keyhole, and the seats are actually nice and comfortable. I like this stand treatment here with this beautiful stitching, which also feels quite nice. Huge door pockets, new switch gear. Again, illumination has been given here, which is good. And you get seat ventilation, but the button is in a place where you can't really see it. You can adjust the driver's seat in height as well as ahead, behind, recline, all those things. That can be done. That's a good thing. Get a proper dead pedal, push engine start button. That's also nice. And the dashboard will actually quite impress you because firstly, they put this soft material on the door pads. Otherwise, it's a lot of hard plastics. A lot of hard plastics here and lower down as well, but some soft material there. So yes, they have worked on feedback and really spruced up the interior of this car. This is auto dimming, light placement here on the top. There's a mirror here. There is no mirror on this side though. And what is this exposed screw? In fact, I'll show you a lot of exposed screws because the glove box has it. I mean, they could have done a much better job of like concealing those screws. The glove box is actually big enough. In fact, there's a tray here, not a tray, but space to keep more stuff. And this first aid kit is like from Misho, really cheap in terms of quality. Here you get a handbrake with some storage space below. In fact, you get an armrest with some storage space, and this armrest can be slid ahead and behind as well. That's nice. I like this. And power window controls have been removed from here and put on the doors, which again is a good thing. Meanwhile, you also get the key of the Defender Octa in this car. Just kidding. Anyways, this is the automatic gloss black finishing here. Wireless charging pad, which actually has the Citroen logo. It has the cooling function as well, and twin cup holders here. Meanwhile, USB-A, not USB-C, 12-volt charging socket. The air conditioning is a chiller. Even on 1 fan speed, it absolutely makes me feel like I'm in the Arctic. And the best thing is that the temperature goes down all the way to 14 degrees. I've never seen that in any car. Wow, absolutely super duper awesome. So climate control, air conditioning system, new AC vents as well. So a lot of changes have been done here. 10.25-inch screen. Now this seems a bit old. For starters, there's not much I can do with this screen. You get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, both of which are wireless. However, when I connected my phone, Apple CarPlay did not work only. Citroen knew that. That's the reason they gave me this phone along with the car, which, by the way, is not able to connect to the Kara app. I'm trying random stuff, but it's not connecting to the Kara AI assistant, which, by the way, can do a lot of things for you. And it also recognizes, I think, 50 plus voice commands, including languages, including regional ones. So that's fantastic. And overall audio quality and all is decent, not great. Tweeters here on the A pillar. Not much to browse in this screen, so it feels like it's from the 1980s. This could have been better. Now, when I get into reverse now, the reverse parking camera turns on. I can't change the view here, so I have to do it from buttons right here. So there's a 360 button, but I can't do it if I'm in reverse. The only way to do it is when I'm in another gear mode, which is right now in parking, and then when I keep this button pressed, it's a long press actually, that is the front camera. This is like the top camera, rear camera, and all those multiple camera views are there, but the 360-degree view is stuck to this. How do I move this? It does not respond to touch also, which is kind of surprising. So when I come into reverse, obviously it comes in the reverse view, no adaptive guidelines, which is surprising. And then want to change the camera view, Does that happen? I am trying my best. No, it's stuck there. So basically, this 360-degree parking camera is a mandatory accessory, because without that you won't get a rear parking camera only. Yeah, the car doesn't come with a standard rear parking camera, and you have to pay rupees 25,000 more for this cheap quality camera. Look at this display. What is this? Come on, I can do better with a Nokia 3310 camera. I don't even know if that had a camera. Now you get the Citroen logo, the horn. Horn is okay, it's not great. This is finished in piano black. I think earlier it was, silver or something of that sort. This is obviously for the cruise control system, buttons on the steering wheel. And this cluster, which is a 7-inch unit, you can browse through this because there are multiple views here. So there it changes it. All I need to do is just press it down. It's so cumbersome to use. You don't really understand what the car is trying to do. 6.4 kilometers per liter is what it's saying. That's the tire pressure monitor. And that's about it. Now, if I want to get into the system settings, I can get inside from here, but it's not very intuitive to use. I can come into maintenance and figure out when the car needs to be serviced in like 1500 kilometers after being, so first service is at 2000 kilometers, something of that sort. This is not the best way to operate this screen, but then earlier it had this whole binacle around it. Now it's just the screen has been stuck on here, which somehow looks better without a doubt. The seats are actually nice and comfortable. Citroen really knows how to make seats, so not too soft, not too hard, just the right foam density inside, which is actually a nice thing. And here, if I open the door, it also shows me that. In fact, when I turn on and off the car, it has Citroen written on the screen, not on this screen. This screen has nothing as such to really please you. Kind of plain and basic, could have been better, but definitely the changes here are nice. In fact, it has got ambient lighting. White color ambient lighting comes here. There are multiple buttons here. So this is for the child lock, this is for stop start system, and this is to get into the 60-degree parking camera, and this is for the ambient lighting. You can turn on and off the ambient lighting from there. And this is the headlight leveler switch, which is kind of old, weird, and not to my liking, to be honest, but I'm happy that Citroen has heard feedback and made changes to the cabin. But where is that all important sunroof? It's not there here because it's not possible, probably because of the fan control or fan blower vents, whatever have been given here. But this is not there in the 5-seater, so 5-seater can at least get a sunroof. Now there are 6 airbags as standard. There's electronic stability control, that's also standard. Isofix child seat mount, that is also standard. Earlier it used to come with 2 airbags. So yes, they have updated the car quite a bit, and the door actually feels robust. Listen to this. Yes, you feel like something has closed. And because this is a French car, it has another French feature which obviously Renault offers, is when you get out of the car, it will automatically lock when you have the key in the pocket, and when you approach the car, it will automatically unlock with the key in the pocket. Yeah, that's something which I don't know why the French love it. They don't want to remove the key at all, but that's a fantastic feature at this price point. Let's start driving right away. Yeah, key not detected. It's in my freaking hand, bro. What are you talking? Alright, time to start driving. Let's first turn off the air conditioning. There's no dedicated switch to lock and unlock the door. You have to do it like this. It's kind of cheap. Let's come into drive mode. Handbrake down. Hazard lights off. Revving the motor. And it revs till 2,500 RPM. And off we go. Little bit of wheel spin. Yeah, the little bit is because you can't turn off traction control here. At least I couldn't find a switch to turn off traction control, disappointingly. And that's 80. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes approximately 13.86 seconds, which is obviously slow, but then outright acceleration is not the big deal for this car because it doesn't excel on that front, simply because there's no replacement for displacement. This is a 1.2 liter petrol engine. Meanwhile, competition is having more displacement, like the Brezza, for example, 1500cc, but no turbocharger there. Same with the Creta as well. It's having 1500cc of displacement, both for NA as well as turbo. So in terms of displacement, well, this is having a disadvantage, and it's got 3 cylinders. It's not got 4 cylinders, and you can feel that rocking movement at idle. So yeah, it kind of feels very uncomfortable when the car is idling, because you can feel it on the pedals, you can feel it on the steering wheel as well. So that's something which is a bit disappointing here. No drive modes as well. So yeah, in terms of the engine on paper, very disappointing. And the more disappointing part is obviously the NA engine, which is 1.2 liter 3-cylinder naturally aspirated, no turbocharger, produces 82 horsepower and 150 newton meters of torque, paired to a 5-speed manual gearbox only. So that gets the job done. Like, it gets you moving, but doesn't get you reaching destinations in any urgency as such. Meanwhile, this is the turbo petrol engine, which is obviously fantastic because it produces 110 horsepower and 205 newton meters of torque. Now this is obviously the automatic, which is a 6-speed torque converter unit sourced from Asin, and there's also a 6-speed manual. The engine is actually quite vocal, but it's punchy. There's turbo lag lower down the rev range, but in the mid range it pulls nicely. So the mid range is nice and strong here, and there's a drag race between 2 trucks who can't decide who's going to overtake one another. Anyway, so in terms of performance, you're not going to complain in spite of the less displacement here, because the performance is strong. The mid-range is like really nice, and that pull all through the mid-range till the red line is very linear, so it gets going very fast. And then the icing on the cake is obviously the steering wheel, which is fantastic here. So is the ride quality. So in terms of the driving feel, if you like driving, you are going to love this car, because it's just fantastic in terms of the way it drives. Engaging for sure. Steering has good amount of feel and feedback as well. Light at lower speeds, ways up at higher speeds. The problem here is that the suspension is a bit noisy, but it absorbs the worst of the bumps in its stride with no hesitation whatsoever. So that's amazing about the suspension. I think it's the best suspension in the segment, period. No two ways about it, because they've sprung it on the softer side, which means that even on the worst of bumps, it absorbs everything. Doesn't really transmit much inside the cabin. So low speed ride is fantastic. Only thing is that at higher speed now, there's this up and down movement because of the soft suspension. So what they should have done is made it slightly stiffer, but then if they've done made it slightly stiffer, the ride wouldn't be this good. The ride is amazing. Citroen is known for comfort. C for comfort, C for Citroen, and C for comfortable ride quality in this car. Fantastic. I love the ride. It's very nice here. So I can get into manual mode and then obviously make shifts if I want, but there are no paddle shifters here. It will not hold on to a gear. Red line comes in at 6,000 RPM, which is kind of weird. A bit less. It should go to 6,500 RPM at least. No, it does not happen. Fuel efficiency, you will get single digit numbers in the city. Out on the highway, you can stretch to 12 kilometers per liter, almost 13-14 kilometers per liter. But average fuel efficiency from this car would be almost in single digits. 9-10 kilometers per liter is what you can expect best, and that's the reason a diesel is sorely missed, because 40-50% of the market is still diesel. Creta sells like 55% diesel. So yeah, Citroen needs to get a diesel, which they will not, I believe, because I don't think they have a diesel engine, a small diesel engine which they can plonk here. So that's another disadvantage they are having. Okay, some water just came there. Let me use the wipers. It has got one nozzle putting out 3 sprays. Wipers are actually good, so is the amount of spray, but that spray is going to the roof somehow more than it's going to this area of the car's windscreen. Anyways, so when you get on throttle, there's this instant lunge ahead, so performance feels really nice, but there is cost cutting in a lot of places. Like for starters, when you turn on the car for the first time, it's going to ring for 60 seconds. Why? Because people at the rear have not buckled up. Why should they be buckling up if they're not there only? Well, Citroen expects you to buckle up all the seats even when there's nobody there, because there are no weight sensors on the rear seats, which is a bit of a problem. And then when you're driving in the city, you love the convenience of the automatic, but there is turbo lag. There's quite a bit of turbo lag, which you can definitely feel. So flat out acceleration is when you will feel it more. Part throttle, you'll not feel it that much. And when you go flat out with this car, you will enjoy the sound. Okay, like if you are into those things, most people don't really enjoy the sound of a car. They want a silent car, but this one sounds quite sporty. This engine is beautiful. I love this engine. It's actually quite nice. And then yeah, shifts are smooth. They are not the quickest shifts, but they are smooth enough. In fact, I don't have much to complain about the gearbox. Obviously, it's not lightning fast. It's a torque converter, but torque converter also sips a lot of fuel. Torque converters are thirsty AF, and that's what they do here. They drink a lot of fuel whenever you drive it the way I'm driving. No, in any condition, torque converters are obviously known to be thirsty, and that's a bit of a problem because people expect fuel efficiency. Now, they're not giving you the fuel efficiency which probably rivals would be able to give, in spite of having a smaller displacement of the engine. And body roll is actually well contained. 200 mm of ground clearance, which is decent enough, but in spite of the height of the car, it still is actually having good handling, and that's something which is again amazing. I like the steering feel. I like the way this car eggs you to push it hard and fast and really enjoy it. So there are certain things which are really likable about Citroen, like the ride and handling balance and the performance in spite of bringing a knife to a gunfight. I mean, the smaller engine when compared to say Hyundai or Maruti Suzuki, or even if you take any other rival for that matter, which obviously offer you more displacement. And at the end of the day, there is no replacement for displacement. There's no replacement for cylinders either. 3 cylinders, in spite of being like 3 here, still fuel efficiency is not the best, because those 3 cylinders have to work over hard to push this car, because obviously it weighs something because of the size. It's not a small car, it's above 4 meters, 4.3 meters. It's big in terms of sizes, weight, because of the 7 seats and all those things. So that's something which Citroen should have thought by giving it at least a diesel engine. You can obviously even get a CNG, but that is with the NA engine, and that's a dealer level fitment which costs rupees 1 lakh. Yes, you have to pay rupees 1 lakh for the CNG. And taking a U-turn is actually effortless here, because turning radius isn't bad at all. And I'm going to go full throttle. Yeah, the tires are screeching there, and yeah, like that moved the car quite a bit. But imagine if it was any other car in the segment, that would have moved quite a bit more. So overall ride here is definitely fantastic. And let's do the brake test. Brakes are good. They're not the best though. Rear drums firstly, and secondly they screech, so tires are not having the optimal grip. So let's do the acceleration test again. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, hazard lights off, revving the motor, left to 2600 RPM, and off we go. Wheel spin. That's 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 11.67 seconds. So I think that was a slope earlier on, which is quite impressive actually. 11.67 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour is very nice. There are 7 variants on offer. There is the U Plus and Max, U Plus Max. Okay, U is the base variant, Plus is the mid variant, and Max is the variant with 7 seats. So Max is the top variant which has all the bells and whistles. Now yes, this car has got the bells and whistles. So the Max is the one to opt for, because obviously all the bells and whistles, so you get 7 seats. Now the thing here is that 7-seater is a makeshift one, so call it a 5+2, but that's not a problem. Price range starts at rupees 9.75 lakhs, goes all the way to 16.24 lakhs for this particular variant, which is absolute great value for money, which actually makes you unsee all the cost cutting which has been done here, because there's a lot of cost cutting done apparently, which you can feel like, you know, they have gone ahead and done bonkers cost cutting, but now it's not that visible and not that obvious, because like auto dimming mirror is here, and a nice air conditioning which is super chiller, which is like made for the hot Indian climate only. So they have done a lot of things which are very positive here. And that brings me to the fact that you have to pay 2.05 lakhs more for the turbo. So if you opt for the NA engine, which is the mid variant, and the engine alone, like the price difference is rupees 2.05 lakhs more for just the turbocharger, which is usually the cost of a turbo and the installation if you do it aftermarket also. I know, because I did it in the Project Polo, firstly. And secondly, they have also given you a turbo in the Max variant, the 7-seater variant. The non-Max variant, the non-7-seater variant does not have a turbo. So that's some bit of thought there as well, that with the extra passengers you need more power, and that's the reason this 7-seater has a turbo. So you have to pay rupees 24,000 more if you want to get the dual tone paint, which obviously makes sense because it looks really very nice, and then rupees 1.34 lakhs more for automatic, which is worth it considering the convenience it offers. Because I remember when I drove the manual, good gearbox, nice shifts, but the clutch was a bit springy. So that's something which the automatic is obviously not having, because there's no clutch which you need to operate at least. I don't know where air is coming from. I've turned off the air conditioning completely. So this is underpinned by the CQ platform. Fantastic platform, very nice, but I'll tell you what is the problem. First impression is like the last impression. Now Citroen, when they launched the C3 Aircross, they obviously missed on a lot of things, and I think then they got the automatic last year, and they made some certain changes to the car by adding a few features I didn't even know. Being from this industry, I did not even know. How do you expect the customer to know? That's the reason you should give everything from day one itself. Come with such a comprehensive package that people are like, wow, this is the car. Even if they don't end up buying the higher variant, majority Creta buyers are actually opting for the mid variant. At least people are like, oh, it gets this feature. Okay, at least it's not in my budget, but he comes to the showroom at least, which Citroen doesn't believe in, because Citroen itself has so many small showrooms. So which showroom will they get people? So that's the problem. Their focus was or is on profitability and not on volumes right now, and that's the reason they are suffering. You need to see the car on the road to be able to sell more cars on the road, and that's a double-edged sword. How do you get more cars on the road? By having a bigger sales and service network, which also means a lot of investment. And that investment they are not ready to do at the moment, because they're like, you know, let's take it slow, let's focus on profitability, and that's harming Citroen, because the cars are fantastic. I know a lot of cost cutting, the all important sunroof is missing, and a lot of people will comment, oh, thank God it doesn't have a sunroof, I don't like sunroof and all that stuff. With sunroof, the structural rigidity of the car gets affected and all those things. Yeah, fine, your opinion is good till yourself, but not when it comes to the buyer. The buyer wants a sunroof, and that's the reason why even mid variants of a lot of cars are getting it. Even a freaking sub 4 meter car is getting a sunroof in lower variants now, so you can understand the importance of a sunroof. The sunroof cannot be omitted at all. It's important and you need to offer it. You can't be a new brand in the Indian market, people are not even aware of you, and then call the shot saying, no, this is the right thing to do. Get the freaking sunroof, get features which people want to have in their cars. Now Citroen's argument is, we are offering you a car at a very attractive price point. There is no denying the fact. The bang for the buck this car offers is just mind-blowing, but that's the problem. Whoever is the product planner thinks that Indians are price conscious. No. We Indians are not price conscious. We are value conscious. We are ready to pay 24 lakhs for a Creta today, 30 lakh rupees for a Mahindra or a Tata as well, as long as we see value in those cars. And that's the problem. Citroen is priced attractively, offers great bang for the buck probably, but people are not seeing the value in these cars. They are ready to pay more to get more, and that's the problem with both Citroen and Honda. Like the Elevate, for example, great price, but then misses out on a lot of things which people are ready to pay for, which Honda is not, or Citroen is not ready to take that money from them. So that is one problem, and obviously the lack of service centers, low sales, which also means that the resale value gets affected. So a lot of problems when your cars are not selling in those great numbers. Your first product has to be hero. You cannot launch a half-hearted product and then update it. Now, because whatever they have done is a step in the right direction, but is it too little, too late? I hope not, because I really want Citroen to be successful in India. Because if Citroen sells more cars, Ferrari there, if there was a Ferrari sticker, a lot of taxis have it. So if Citroen sells more cars, it's more successful, they're going to launch more products, which means that there's going to be more competition, which means other brands are going to up their game, offer better pricing, and you understand this whole cycle resulting in the consumer being the winner. Come on, Citroen, you need to do something out of the blue. You can't launch Me Too products, you can't launch products which don't really feel striking and out of the park. So you need to think of bringing products which will really make you establish your brand. The C5 was the wrong choice. You should have got the Space Tourer. That time the van segment was so small, and now it is obviously increased. So there's the Carnival, there's the Velfire. Okay, now I'm giving a lecture to Citroen on how to manage the product planning, which is not the topic of this video. Maybe a podcast later would put things into better perspective.
Citroen is I tell you. Citroen, the problem with Citroen is they came with the car exactly what Indians were buying, not really wanted to buy.
But as I see it, this update might be fantastic, but it's not going to make any change to Citroen's fortunes in India. And I'm saying it with a heavy heart because I honestly want Citroen to work. I really want them to be successful because the whole ecosystem works that way. But at least what I've seen in this industry, updating products after launch doesn't make a difference because the consumer mindset is already there. Like, oh, you know what, Citroen, yeah, they offer great pricing, but they don't offer the kind of features I'm looking for. And on that disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye-bye.